Hello all, on a bike ride this morning, and this is a very important peak oil news update. We finally have some serious numbers in, and it is looking much worse than a lot of people thought. Here it is, December 2nd. Yesterday was 78 degrees, sunshine all day. I can't remember a December where it wasn't just rain and cold and drizzle, and today we actually have fog all over. But it's about probably, it's about 50, if that, maybe 49 degrees. But we should be in the low 40s or upper 30s during December. January 30s. But in the last 3 Januaries, we've been it's been like summer. So we have 1 month of winter left. It hasn't even gotten here yet. The most we can get is a little bit of rain or a bit of drizzle and fog. So let's get right over to this peak oil news update. Alright, it looks bad. OPEC's output is starting to fall. Let me show you. This is some of the first information we've gotten from OPEC in some time. Here it is. Total output of OPEC has fallen from 30.252 million barrels per day down to 30.007 million barrels per day. Saudi Arabia's output has dropped 150,000 barrels per day. Nigeria's output has dropped over 100,000 barrels per day. That's not all. The eraser's doing okay. We're still alright. Libya's output has dropped by over 40,000 barrels per day. There's still more bad news. The U.S. was supposed to bring us out of this trouble with fracking and processing the tar sands oil out of Canada. Let me show you what really is happening. Okay, the U.S. output went up to 391.4 million barrels per day, but it was forecast to go up 750,000 million barrels per day. We didn't make it, and crude production worldwide is now on the decline. In the UK, the offshore oil and gas licenses have been issued in the North Sea at a record number, and the reason is because the infrastructure that's out there now might look something like this. This is all underwater. These are wellheads. The oil is pumped into a big chamber, which then ships come in and offload all the oil and gas into the ships. This infrastructure doesn't have enough oil and gas pumping into it to keep it going. So they want to decommission all this old infrastructure. But before they do it, they have issued a record number of licenses of smaller ones to use this infrastructure while they can, so they don't have to build any more. But what they're doing is they're going after the smaller and smaller amounts of gas and oil. And once they pump that out, the North Sea is done. The UK government is estimating that there's still about 20 million barrels of oil and some more gas left in that area before they're done. Only 20 million barrels. It's looking like peak oil has peaked for sure and is now on the decline for real. Okay, let's go to the next one. It looks like Obama has done something for the XL pipeline. Let me show you. Obama has approved a gas pipeline going from the fracking fields of the U.S. up all the way up to Canada's tar sands. So let's say that this is the pipeline. This is the tar sands. So the gas will go up this way. It'll be mixed in with the oil, the tar sands oil, to thin it out so that they then can bring it back down into the States to have it processed. Well, what's wrong with that? So the pipeline is 1,900 miles long. What needs to be done is the natural gas is taken out of the ground through fracking in Texas. You use all that fossil fuel to do that and chemicals, and you pollute the ground. You bring up the gas to the surface. Then you turn it into liquid. That process throws away half of the natural gas that you brought up in the first place. During that process, you're using more fossil fuel. Then you're going to pump this natural gas up the new pipeline all the way up to Alberta tar sands, 1,900 miles away, using up more fossil fuel. They call it dilutant, or they have some other newspeak names for it. Then it's mixed with the tar sands and pumped back down all the way down to Texas and other parts of the U.S., where it is then processed into usable oil, which takes even more fossil fuels. So to me, it looks like you're going to spend more fossil fuels making fossil fuels than you're going to get out of it. Just my thoughts from what I've seen of the numbers and their plan B. Their first plan failed. This is plan B. What a waste, what an incredible waste of fossil fuels. And here we are doing all this damage to our planet and getting out almost nothing. We're putting in and getting out probably close to about the same. We're turning cleaner natural gas into dirtier tar sands, and at the end we end up with some gasoline and other products, but you've thrown away probably 90% of all the natural gas that you started out with. In Israel, they have been working on an offshore gas drilling operation. Let me show you. The Cypress Offshore gas fields have been estimated to be 5.2 trillion cubic feet. It has been, that estimate was too high. It's now been estimated to be 4.1 trillion cubic feet. The reason is the layer where the gas sits, fracking field, is thinner. They had estimated it to be at about this height, and in reality it's this height. So there's a lot less natural gas than they thought. It looks like the truth does eventually come out, but it looks like it might be too late. Okay, one of the problems with using fossil fuels is what it does to our planet in the way of climate change. Let me just show you. We're finding ourselves in the U.S. covered in drought. The yellow, well, here's what the colors mean. So we're having extreme droughts in most parts of the U.S., as you can see. Here's the U.S. temperature map in Fahrenheit. You'll notice this is December 2nd, 2013, and look at these temperatures. We should be, this area here should be in the minus numbers, at freezing with snow, and here we are at 61, 64, all the way down here 73, 79, California 72, 66 where we live. It's warmer than that now. Florida 70s, 70s. Look it up here near New York, 48, 62, 55, Virginia. There's so many reasons we should be using solar panels and wind generation, possibly even bicycle generating electricity in the gyms. You may come and volunteer or get some credits for riding a bicycle which generates electricity, reduces the cost of your electricity per year by volunteering to ride a bicycle once or twice or 3 times a week to generate electricity for an hour or two. There's so many ways we can make our own electricity clean, and it will help the environment. But the last thing we need to do is have nuclear power or coal generation, which they say that they're calling clean coal, which is just newspeak. There's no such thing as clean coal. There's no such thing as safe nuclear power, period. There just isn't. Please go look at my November 8th video to understand the CO2 count. But our CO2 count in December was 393.66, up from 393.1 in November. We're skyrocketing. Okay, the fog is starting to lift, and blue sky, and the foghorn's going at it. I wanted to talk to you quickly about nuclear power. A lot of these corporates are saying that we have to go to nuclear power before we go to wind and solar. That's completely off the mark, ridiculous, stupid. Why would anybody even say that? Nuclear power is the most expensive, environmentally dangerous power there ever was. We should never, ever go to nuclear power. We should get rid of all of it immediately. The reason it's so costly is because you have to keep the fuel rods, the old ones, cool for thousands of years. That's maintenance, that's moving the rods from one building to another that's decaying and falling apart because of radiation. Just the Fukushima thing should teach everybody to completely ignore the call for nuclear power. We need to go to solar and wind now, and bicycle power. There's so many different alternatives to nuclear power that doesn't have to keep getting paid for. Nuclear power could cost trillions of dollars per plant, just to keep it up in 1,000 years. You're going to be paying over $1 trillion for that. Now you're saying, well, I'll be dead by then. So you're going to make the people in the future pay for the amount of energy that was spent 1,000 years ago. And I don't think they're going to do it. So people are not going to maintenance the nuclear stuff in the future because they don't get anything out of it. There's so many reasons we cannot and should not ever go to nuclear power. Okay, thanks a lot for all the new subscribers. Got about 2 new ones. And the few comments and the ups and the likes and the sharing this video around. The more we share the video, the higher it climbs in the ratings and the more the message gets out. So I appreciate all the comments, followers, and watchers. Until next time.